The International Monetary Fund is warning of the consequences of the lingering political showdown in Washington over the U.S. government shutdown. The IMF says the global economy would suffer gravely if the face-off over raising the U.S. government's borrowing limit results in its debt default. It also warned that such a failure would derail the U.S. economic recovery and lead to major disruptions in financial markets, both domestically and overseas. The warning came after the IMF cut its global growth outlook, citing weakness in emerging economies. Meanwhile, the IMF has said that the recovery from the crisis in the euro area is too slow. It says business confidence indicators suggest that activity is close to stabilizing in Italy and Spain and already recovering in economies such as Germany. Let's bring in Dean Henderson. He's the author of The Big Oil and Their Bankers, and he joins us from Missouri to tell us more about this. Well, Dean Henderson, the U.S. government is going to be out of money, according to what we're reading, on November the 1st. I think on last count it was $30 or $40 billion. Do you foresee that ceiling not to be raised, and of course the consequences behind it?
Well, I really didn't think it was going to happen, but it looks like, at least on the Republican side, these Tea Party people are pretty dug in, and I really hope the Democrats don't cave in. That's probably the way it would happen if it does get raised. Is the Democrats will cave in. They're pretty good at that. But these Tea Party people, first of all, the Tea Party was a protest against the lowering of taxes on the East India Company, not the raising of taxes. So they got it all wrong. They're basically like the loyalists back in the American Revolutionary days, where they're siding with the East India Company, with the Rothschild bankers, and this is an attempt to impose austerity on the American people.
Now, the big question comes here is that who is controlling the money there? Is it the U.S. president? Is it the Treasury? This raising of the debt ceiling, some say, well, isn't the U.S. In a way printing money, for example, when it comes to the QE2, which, what is it, about $70 or $80 billion a month that's being sold in terms of the Treasury bills? Can you put that into perspective for us?
Yeah, it's about $80 billion a month, and all it amounts to is the Federal Reserve, 8 families banking cartel, sinking the United States further in the debt. So it doesn't help anybody. It's basically free money for corporations who are heavily in debt. And, basically what needs to happen is that the FBI should be sent to this third subfloor of the New York Federal Reserve. They should seize the gold that they've stolen from the U.S. Treasury to put it back in Fort Knox, arrest the bankers, and cancel this $17 trillion debt, except for the debt that's owed to sovereign nations like Japan, like China, and so forth. This is the solution to the whole thing. Whether Obama, is going to do that, of course he's not going to do that, but that's what they ought to do. They ought to repudiate this debt, and every other country should do the exact same thing, because if we don't, we're all going to be living in basically a third world situation. They're going to impose austerity on every single country in the world, extract concessions, take people's health care, take benefits from people, and basically we're heading towards a medieval type of world government. And I think that this could be a pretext to just that if we allow this to go on.
Thank you very much, Dean Henderson, author of Big Oil and Their Bankers, talking to us from Missouri.